Hey, what's up, Brew Crew? Opie here. Welcome back to the Brew City Garden. You know, Josh from the Citystead put out a video the other day talking about a lot of the successes and a lot of the failures that he's had this year. Now, Josh is pretty much in the same relative climate that I'm in. He's in Michigan. I'm in southeast Wisconsin. And so our weather patterns have been very similar. Through the spring, all through the summer, I've been watching the rain patterns move across the upper Midwest, and everything that hits us here ends up hitting those guys over at the Citystead within hours. So I know what they're dealing with, and I understand, you know, when he put out that video, the successes and the failures that he's had. I completely understand, because I'm having a lot of the very same successes and failures. And it's just been a really, really odd growing season. And I hear this a lot from a lot of people all across the country. I was just at the farmer's market over the weekend, and I was talking to a few of the vendors out there, and they all say the same thing. It's nobody can put their finger on it. I'm just not sure exactly what's going on, but everybody is struggling this year. Now, talk about oddities. If you would have told me that my peas would be more productive and more vigorous on August 1st than what they would have been in, say, mid-May or June 1st, I would have told you you're crazy. But that's what's happening. My peas in the last few weeks have just shot up. And I mean, they've grown probably a foot in a week, and they're pumping out pea pods. I've never seen anything like it. Normally this time of year, those peas have completely dried up and are gone. So, you know, that just kind of speaks to how cool it's been this summer and wet. It's just been really strange. And I'm hoping that perhaps next year we won't have to deal with this. Maybe we'll get back to some more normal weather patterns. You know, it's August 1st, and right now it's about 70 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Technically, it should be like 85, you know, or 90 degrees. That's what we're used to for the beginning of August. This is like the pinnacle of summer. So for it to be even this cool is pretty crazy. And I heard that just a couple days ago in northern Minnesota, they had record cold temperatures of 37 degrees Fahrenheit. At the end of July. I mean, just unheard of. So fingers crossed that this is the last year we have to deal with this. You know, the last couple of years have been kind of cool and not so great. So hopefully next year is going to make up for it. Now watch, it'll be 150 degrees next year. But you know what? That's just kind of the way it goes, and that's how gardening is. Nothing's ever perfect, ever. So if you're a first-time gardener and you're failing, don't worry about it, because even experienced gardeners fail. It happens. It's just the way gardening goes. But you always try to learn from it and try to, you try to figure out ways to overcome the next year. So that's just how it goes. But I do have one success that I really want you guys to see, and I'm really happy about it. And I think you'll be impressed. So let's go back and take a look at it. All right, guys, let's go. All right, so have you figured it out? One of my great successes this year has been the sweet corn. You know what? I'll post a card up here, so that'll take you back to where I planted the sweet corn. Now, if you originally watched that video, you know that my corn went in late, of course, because of the weather. It's just been a crazy year. So I ended up getting a hybrid sweet corn, which is kind of a shorter duration to maturity. I believe it's a 75-day sweet corn. And I was really worried about the cool temperatures making the seeds rot into the ground. But actually, I got a really good germination rate, and it came up beautifully. When it was about 6 inches tall or so, I went ahead and hit it with some nitrogen. And again, when it was about 2 feet tall, I hit it with some nitrogen. And it seems like overnight this stuff just shot up. I mean, look at it, it's insane. Let's see how tall this corn got. All right, guys, literally this is higher than I can reach, and we're looking at 7 foot tall corn, probably taller than that because I couldn't reach that high. So probably somewhere about 7.5 feet. As you can see, it's beginning to tassel now, which is a really good sign. So what's going to happen is this will throw out the tassels, which are the kind of spriggly looking things at the top of the stalk, and the tassels are what drop the pollen. And shortly after, we'll start to see silks develop just towards the top of the stalks, and that's where the actual ear of corn will develop. So we're going to keep a close eye on this. Now, just because we made it to this point doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Actually, we're starting to get to the most critical part of the sweet corn. When you know, the tassels I'm not worried about. It's the silks and the actual ears of corn that I really need to pay attention to, because that's when the pest will start to come in. I know for a fact that I do have earwigs in this particular garden bed. And of course, corn earworms are also a huge problem when it comes to growing corn. So I've got a couple of remedies for that, and you know, some organic insecticides that I can put on the corn that should mitigate most of those problems. Now there's also another issue. I've got squirrels around here, and the squirrels love to get into everything. So I'm really gonna have to keep an eye on them. I know there's raccoons in the area, but I've never actually saw a raccoon on my property or on the neighbor's property. So hopefully we won't have any issues as far as raccoons are concerned. But once these ears of corn start to develop, it's gonna draw in a lot of critters. So it's gonna be really critical at this point. So as far as like wind or anything knocking it down, luckily this little area back here is very sheltered. So I'm really not too worried about it. Right behind you guys is 2 giant pine trees. So that really blocks a lot of wind. My garage is on this side, and of course the rest of the neighbors' homes, and it's just more of a low-lying area right here. So I'm not worried about the wind or storms, and it's already survived a couple of really big storms this year. So I'm more worried about the ears getting attacked by pests, and once they develop, getting attacked by small animals. So fingers crossed, we'll see where it goes. But I tell you what, I couldn't be more happy with the way this corn has turned out, and I just had to show it off to you guys. Man, this is super cool. I am super stoked. And you know, as I mentioned before, I'm not really experienced in the sweet corn game. I grew up in the Midwest, and everybody grew corn, all types of corn. So it was always so prolific. Every street corner had a sweet corn vendor on it. So for me to grow corn was kind of monotonous, but I just really wanted to get the experience. You know, being a corn-bred Midwestern boy, shouldn't I know how to grow corn? So that's what we're doing this year, and we'll probably experiment with this for at least a couple of years. So far I'm super happy. Man, look at that corn. Isn't it great? So yes, even though it's been a very strange growing season, and we've certainly had our fair share of failures, I'm happy to say we've also got some really cool successes this year. I'm absolutely stoked about the whole thing. So, you know, even though every year is different, every year is a learning experience, I'm definitely learning a lot about this sweet corn, and so far so good. It's a great success. All right, guys, hey, thanks again for joining me here today in the Brew City Garden. As always, it's a pleasure to have you guys here with me. And with that, I want you guys to have an amazing, amazing day. And until next time, we'll see you.